Joining me live in our Lagos studios to talk about this impact of fares on business promotion is the Chairman Trade Promotion Board of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Gabriel Idahosa. I must thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, before we move into the trade fair issue, which I'm really excited about and I want to talk about it, but a lot of figures came out today from the MBS, and one notable one is inflation, 14.89%. Some are saying we're supposed to go above this. Some are saying it's conservative enough. I don't know how it comes to you.
Well, considering the factors that are driving inflation, it's going to keep going higher until you are able to reverse those primary drivers of inflation. One being the much reduced capacity to produce food because of security. So large parts of the country are impacted by security. And so the production of food is either stagnant or going down in most parts of the country. And it's not compensating for increase in food production in other parts of the country where you don't have security issues. And that driver of inflation cannot be reversed until we deal substantially with the security situations in most parts and increasing parts of the country, from the northeast to the northwest, now some parts of the north central where food is not produced. So that's not something we are going to reverse very soon. So the inflation trend it's sort of establish itself until we settle the issue of security that improves enough for farmers to confidently resume full farming operations in about 10 to 19 states in the northern part of the country.
It's really worrisome, coupled with the fact that we talked about this even off air. We're paying more for electricity, we're paying more for PMS, and all of that, taxes and all of that at this moment. I think Nigeria now has too much to just crunch at the moment.
Well, we should pay more for electricity and for petrol. The reason is that these are consumer items. They are consumer items. So we need to pay more, in fact, enough to make the producers of electricity, the producers of petroleum products, to cover their costs. Because there's no business that will continue to provide a service or produce a product and does not recover its cost. So those increases we expect to happen. Where we expect to provide some kind of subsidy and stimulus is in agriculture, is in ICT, in sectors that are producing, in entertainment. Those sectors that are producing require the support of government to enable them produce more. But those sectors that are just consuming require for them to be able to produce at a price that is market-driven. So if I own an electricity distribution company and my cost is covered by the price I'm charging for electricity, I don't need government to motivate me to improve production. If I have a refinery and I can produce and sell at a price that is lower than my cost, I don't need government to invite me to come to Nigeria to set up a refinery. So most refineries that were to be set up in this country over the last 20 years were not set up, for the simple reason that nobody is going to set up a refinery and sell it below the cost of production. Because I'm going to use my money, I'm going to use money from banks, I'm going to use money from shareholders.
To pay back.
Then I produce, and someone says I cannot sell the product more than the price of my production. There's no business that can run that way. So we need to enable those sectors that are currently underpriced, that we have just mentioned, electricity, for example, petroleum products, to be able to produce at the full beneficial price. And then we move subsidy to the productive areas, agriculture, entertainment, information and communication technology. Those sectors will grow very fast, create more jobs, and enable Nigerians to pay the full price for the consumption items like electricity and power. So it is just the transition from moving from supporting consumer parts of the economy and moving to the productive part of the economy. If you support information and communication technology, for example, and the price of data comes back, you immediately create thousands of jobs in the ICT industry. You immediately create thousands of jobs additional in agriculture if you are able to support them with the money you get from removing subsidies. The argument is not just remove subsidy. Remove subsidy, the money we save from subsidy, we move them to the productive sector.
Sectors.
There are a lot of people, young people, who can do a lot more with cheaper data. If they have cheaper data, they can do more software work. They can work for the worldwide. Software engineering now is not location-based. I can stay in Nigeria and work for companies around the world. If data in particular is very low, and hardware equipment, the laptops, the tablets, prices come down because government is supporting local production of those items. So the argument is not really about subsidy or no subsidy. It is where are you putting the subsidy? Subsidize the production of tablets and laptops and bring down their prices so the average student can afford to buy one and provide the financing. So if I need a laptop, a tablet, I don't have to pay the full price. I can go to a finance institution that allows me to pay in 1 year or 2 years. So everyone can have a laptop. Yeah. Everyone can start to provide some service. And then the economy will grow. That's the way it works.
Before we move to the next part of our discussion, so I'm right to say, are you a fan of deregulation or liberalization? Because there are a lot of words used when it comes to handing over all of this to private sector players to run. Are you a fan of deregulation, letting the downstream market forces operate, or which do you support? No,
the point is not deregulation
okay.
of the petroleum industry, for example.
Okay.
It is the price liberalization.
Okay.
Because even diesel and kerosene that has been liberalized, that anybody can import, the quality is still regulated. Nobody can just bring any diesel and start to sell. The quality is the specification of diesel or kerosene you can sell in Nigeria is controlled by the Department of Petroleum Resources.
True.
So what we are saying, what the business community is saying, treat petroleum exactly like that. You don't need any government agency to announce that today the price of petrol. Today you don't have announcements about price of diesel. You go there, you buy diesel. Because anybody, you can import diesel today. You can import kerosene. But you must meet the specification of DPR. So regulation must remain. But price control of anything is only possible where you produce the thing. If government produces petrol, they can control the price. But you don't produce petrol. I produce petrol. You tell me what price I'm going to sell, and you don't care how much I produce it. So it doesn't work. So what we're saying is regulate things that are required to be regulated. The quality of products to protect consumers. So when I go and buy petrol, I know I'm buying the correct quality. If I pay my bills, I know I'm getting the quality of power that will protect my equipment. I don't get power that goes up and down and destroys everything in my house. Yeah. So government should control that. But the price those things are produced must cover the cost of whoever is producing them. So that's the thing. So it's not just deregulation. Yeah. You can't have a deregulated society where anybody does anything he likes.
I see that passion, and it's getting so interesting. But let's move to the other part of our discussion. Trade fair this year, COVID-19 and all of that. How were you able to manage up? Attending one of the briefings where you're talking about how you're going to go about it, the online and all of that. Take us through what played out this year.
Actually, about August or thereabout, June, July, August, we were monitoring the movement of the daily positive cases. As they were going down to a point where the state government was now opening up the markets, opening up the schools, allowing the churches to start full operations, we felt we should apply to the government for authority to organize the trade fair. We applied, and the governors said, looking at the numbers at that time, we were given a conditional approval, subject to our meeting all the guidelines of the NCDC as supervised by the Lagos State Safety Commission. So we had to go to the Lagos Safety Commission. They came to TBS and did a complete audit of the premises and set out the COVID-19 guidelines we must comply with. So from that time to November, the Lagos Safety Commission was working with us with all the protocols. And then as we approached the November 6th, which was the initial date, it was felt that there was not enough time to ensure that all those guidelines are fully complied with and get, because not just LCCI, all the exhibitors also have to comply.
Yeah, true.
And we needed to take them through all the processes. So in the middle of that, we then moved the date of the fair to 4th of December. And then all the works, all the processes were put in place. And we had the safety marshals on ground throughout the fair period, ensuring that all the guidelines are fully complied with. And that's how we were able to have the fair.
Wow, very, very interesting. Now, this is an opportunity to network, to exhibit, you know, a lot of things go on. Tell us this year, what's spectacular? I know a lot of spectacular things happen every time, but just tell us something that, you know, you've seen, you look at one way or the other impact positively on our economy and, of course, Lagos State in focus.
No, I think that perhaps what is most spectacular is the surprise element. A lot of the exhibitors felt since we were brave to start, they will also come and showcase their products. And they were just hoping that some people will come, some will not come. But by the second day, Saturday of the fair, the fair starts on Friday. By Saturday of the fair, we were talking to a lot of the exhibitors and said they were surprised at the rate of sales. That apparently, once the fair started, people who had planned to do their shopping for Christmas and to travel took advantage of it and came there. And they were surprised that so many people were coming to do their shopping, and they were even suggesting that in future we should move from November to first week of December, because
that timing seems to be good.
Yes, that they saw that people were actively saying, I want to buy this for Christmas, I want to do this. So that was a surprise to us, because we never thought of moving from November to December for any reason, except that COVID made us to move. So we were quite interested in monitoring that. And what it means for us is we will need to talk to all our exhibitors in the last 3 years, for 2018, 2019, 2020, and see if they believe that the December is probably a better time for everybody. That was a surprise to us, because we never really thought of that angle. We were just navigating COVID, and we found ourselves where in the consumer products area, the sales were very good. But in the high cost durables, the fridges, the furnitures, sales were not very good, because the pocket at this time is only devoted to food and consumables. So you don't have much money for the large items.
True.
That was the pattern of the fair. So anybody dealing in fast consumer goods was doing extremely well in the fair.
That's great. So let's round up on this note. We know businesses have challenges, and 2020, remarkable year. COVID and all that has happened. As we move on to 2021, what are your expectations? What do you see? Most businesses are still scared. Some say this year should just be a year of survival. Just survive and stay in business. Then you can start thinking of profit maybe from mid-2021 or something. What are your projections for businesses even at this time? Government is getting a loan from IMF. A lot is happening in the economy.
Well, the first thing is that any business that survived 2020 has been toughened, ready to move into 2021 with experience that nobody had. In the last 100 years, nobody had the kind of experience that the business world experienced this year. There was no amount of management science or business planning that could prepare for COVID-19. But now the world has experienced it. The business community now knows that things as bad as COVID can happen. So all planning for next year is being revised. There's a lot more realism, where people were thinking they could make 50%, 30% profits. Everybody is now looking down for 2021. We have survived 2020. Let us try and ramp up business in 2021. Be modest in our profit, but more insistent on being realistic in the kind of planning we're doing, and not just believe that somehow everything is going to explode in 2021. It's going to take perhaps the first 2 quarters for business people to begin to make more realistic estimates for the future. The first 2 quarters are just survive, clean up all the debris, try and prepare for the year, and then strategize for the second half of next year and 2022. So first 2 quarters are getting out of the water and cleaning ourselves of all the...
In 1 minute, what about government? What should government do in this? We've seen what the monetary side has been doing, CBN and all. What about government?
Well, government should just speed up the various palliatives. The real problem is not lack of palliatives, but the pace at which they are done. There's too much time spent on bureaucracy, and some of the palliatives, like happened with SARS, are locked up somewhere when they are supposed to have been used. So we need to, at all levels, we need to speed up the palliatives and any measures that are already in place to improve the economy.
Amos, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate this. Chairman Trade Promotion Board of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, breaking it down, businesses and what it means, particularly COVID-19 and its effects. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us, sir.
Thank you.
Mr.